What's up everyone, it's Jordan, the Lazy Ass Reefer, and if you've seen my past videos, you know I'm a little bit obsessive when it comes to making my tank as quiet as possible. I just personally hate whirring noises from fans, gurgling, bubbling, splashing, whatever you want to call it. I can't stand those noises, and I've waged war against noise with my tank. And it's kind of one of those things where it's like whack-a-mole. You know, I make something quieter, and I feel like it makes something else louder, or it makes it more apparent, if you will. So I actually found out something that helped me a lot when making my sump quieter, and I just wanted to share it because hopefully it'll save some of you a lot of headaches and hours of Googling. And we'll get into that in just a little bit. So first and foremost, if you have a reef tank, it's probably drilled, and you most likely have either a weir style overflow like this one right here, or with a durso standpipe that drains through the bottom of the tank, or you have like a bean animal or whatever it's called, which is still uses a weir overflow, but it drains through the back of the tank. And in my experience, I've had two reef tanks. One with a setup like this, and one with a overflow that drained through the back using flex hose. And in my opinion, that one was significantly quieter, due mainly to the fact that he was using flex hose, which has more resistance, so the water slowed down a little bit. And also because it was flex hose, the hose was curved, and the water slowed down a little bit before it went into the sump, rather than just draining straight into the sump and having that velocity, if you will. So, and then I have here just a picture in case you have no idea what I'm talking about. This is the most common design with like the Aqueon or Marineland Reef Ready tanks. This is your durso standpipe right here, and this is your return. So the water drains in through these teeth and then goes up right here and then down. And this is just a side picture right there. So the unfortunate thing about this is the water goes straight down, and picks up a little bit of speed depending on how tall your setup is, and in your sump probably results in something that people call like the boiling water effect. It kind of looks like this. Let me zoom in a little bit. I couldn't find a higher res picture. Basically, it's just bubbles all over the place, which is going to result in splashing, salt creep, and most annoyingly, the noise, in my opinion. And without getting too heavy into like physics and whatnot, really, this is just a result of the water that is draining into the sump, hits the surface of the water, and with that speed, pulls pockets of air into the sump with it. And obviously, that air needs to go somewhere, so it's going to come up to the surface and cause turbulence and bubbling and just all the aforementioned things. So how do you get rid of this? Well, one really common method is to use a filter sock. And I've used that in the past. However, I don't like filter socks. I don't use any sort of like mechanical filtration. That will turn all those big bubbles into micro bubbles and will quiet it down. So you can definitely do that. Or that's where we're going to get into the durso standpipe, which, whoops, Windows won't let me move forward for some reason until I zoom all the way out. There we go. So this is actually, I just wanted to show you, this is an attempt at a durso standpipe, and I will say it is kind of a failure in my opinion. Hopefully you guys can see my cursor. The effect is not working where it like makes my cursor glow, but whatever. So what's supposed to happen here is the water comes down, hits this elbow. The water is supposed to then come this way and go straight down. You can see he's still got a fair amount of bubbles coming out. The idea was that the bubbles were supposed to vent out right here. And you can see, like I said, the design is just poor because the bubbles are still so far underwater that you still have turbulence, and you can see there's splashes on the glass right here. Hopefully this next picture is the right one. There you go. So this is definitely a better design where the water drains straight down. Let me zoom in a little bit. Water drains straight down. It hits this angle right here where 50% of your water, actually never mind, this is like a Y, so I guess most of your water is going to come out this way and some's going to go out that way. If this were a T, it would be 50-50 right there. And that will definitely slow down the water and cause less like turbulence. And then, so what happens is the air is going to go with the path of least resistance. So the air is going to come up here and vent out right here. Now, the only thing with that is that if the vent is above water, you're going to get gurgling, which is a little bit counterproductive because you're doing this to reduce noise. Now, you've reduced turbulence, yes, but you've increased the sound with the gurgling. So he's got a cap on right here with a tube to direct that noise somewhere else, and you could potentially install like a little muffler or something like that. So that's one way to do it. I personally have mine under the water, and just for some reason with my setup, the bubbling coming out, like, I mean, this blue line is up here. For some reason, the bubbling is just not as bad, so I just left it alone. I did try one technique like this, and even with like a muffler, I could just still hear like that kind of chugging or like bubbling noise. So this is another example like that. He's got the filter sock, which will reduce the splashing and turn those bubbles into micro bubbles. And then he's got this Y valve coming up again with a tube, and then he'll direct the noise, somewhere else. Potentially, you could use like filter floss or pillow stuffing, or make like a little like a muffler out of like a pill bottle or something. I don't know. That's just, I wanted something as simple as possible, and that's why as soon as I saw that it was working, I just left it alone. I was like, this is good enough. Let's just leave it right here. So in conclusion, if you have a durso standpipe style overflow where the water drains straight into your sump, a reverse durso can be an effective way at reducing the splashing and noises associated with that style. Additionally, like I said, you can use a filter sock. However, that requires, obviously, that's one more maintenance step of swapping out your filter sock. And if you are going to use a filter sock, make sure you are changing it frequently so as to not cause any sort of overflow when it becomes clogged. If you do Google searching, you'll see that there's many different ways of doing this. Hopefully, the pictures and guidance that I provided you kind of steers you in the right direction. Like I said, if you have the vent above water, you'll get gurgling noises. If you have the vent below water, that's means you're going to have bubbling underwater, but it should be a little bit less chaotic as just venting your drain straight in. So that's all I got. If you guys have an overflow, like if you've had overflow noises in the past, I would love to hear what you guys did. I might try it down the road. And additionally, if you share your experience and your solutions in the comment section, other people can learn as well. So that's all I got for today, guys. If you like this video, if you learned something, please give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more helpful videos like this and more updates on my reef tank, I'd love to have you with me as part of the journey. So hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Take it easy.